When you first start making money from sports betting, it's a great feeling. You finally figured it out and you've got this extra income coming in consistently. And you start to imagine all the things that you'll be able to do with it. If you could scale it up, maybe you can pay off your mortgage or buy a new car or retire early. Then you get hit with an email like this and you realise that the world of sports betting isn't a fair one. If you're a long-term loser, you'll be welcomed with open arms, you'll be given free bets, VIP status, and you might even be given higher limits. But if you dare to actually try and win over the long term, then the majority of bookmakers will either limit you to pennies or they will ban you completely and close your account. And then even if you want to go and bet in shops, you will be treated like a criminal eventually, and they won't take your money, and some of them won't even let you step inside the shop. In today's video, I'm going to show you a few bookmakers that don't ban or limit winning players, and for those that do ban and limit winning players, I'm going to give you a few tactics which will show you how to extend the account life of these accounts so that you can make as much money as possible before those limits do happen. The first option you have is to use a sharp bookmaker. So a sharp bookmaker is one that will accept winning players. The most well-known is Pinnacle Sportsbook, who were established in 1998 and have a very good reputation. The big problem for players in the UK, such as myself, is that they don't accept UK customers, and the only way to get an account or to get their access to their odds is to go through an Asian broker. Now, I did use Asian Connect previously, a couple of years ago. However, recently there's been a lot of bad reports about them and negative feedback on their KYC policies. So this is not the best option at the moment. The other option you have as a UK-based sports bettor is Bet105. They operate a very similar model to Pinnacle in that they have very competitive odds and they accept winners. So you are welcome to sign up to them. However, it should be noted that you can only deposit and withdraw via cryptocurrency. Alongside those two bookmakers, you also have access to betting exchanges, so that you have the likes of Betfair, Smarkets, Matchbook and BetDAQ, which will not limit or ban winning players. However, what they will do is increase the commission charges once you hit certain profit amounts. So those are your options if you're a winning sports bettor that wants to find a bookmaker or an exchange that is not going to ban or limit you for winning in the long term. Now, given that these are an option, you might be asking yourself, why do people complain about getting limited or banned from other bookmakers if there are bookmakers that will accept them? The fact is that bookmakers like Bet365, William Hill, Unibet, etc., they are known as soft bookmakers, and as such they are easier to beat and easier to profit from. And like I said earlier, they will exploit losing bettors to the fullest, and then if they find out you're a winning bettor, they will cut you off as quick as possible. So the practice does seem very unfair, and that is why a lot of people have an issue with it. Let's talk a little bit then about extending the life of these soft bookmaker accounts. These are bookmaker accounts which make many more mistakes than sharp bookmakers like Pinnacle and Bet105, and they offer a lot more opportunities with smaller markets and prop markets that can offer quite a lot of value. The first thing that I do when I get access to a new soft bookmaker account is I like to prime it. So when I talk about priming an account, I try and make that account look like it is a recreational bettor for the first month. And this is because new accounts are often under the most scrutiny, and if you go and open a new account with Bet365, for example, and you start hitting value, you start hitting arbitrage bets on horse racing, you're taking top price greyhounds, and you just hammer value from the off, it will get closed very quickly. However, if you open that account and you put in a few accumulator bets here and there on football, on UFC, on rugby, cricket, and even though you might be losing small amounts of money, I'm not telling you to lose tons of money, because in previous videos I've talked about priming, and then people will put stuff in the comments like, well, what's the point of opening a bookmaker account and then losing money to them? That's counterintuitive and stupid. No wonder they don't limit you. Well, yeah, it might seem counterintuitive initially, but what you are hoping, or what usually happens, is they flag you as a recreational bettor, and that allows you to make £5,000 from that account rather than £800 where they cut you off straight away. After priming an account for a month, I'll start to take value from it, and a good way to carry on disguising your bets is to, well, disguising your value bets, I should say, is to put them in accumulators or bet builders. So this is a really good way of carrying on the recreational look. You want anyone that looks at your account to think, oh, this guy's just a mug punter who's throwing money away. But if you combine value selections with either break-even selections or slightly minus EV selections, you can still have an accumulator that has value overall, but will not stand out and flag you as basically a sharp bettor. Another good way to stay under the radar and have your account last for longer is to find an edge in play. So if this can be either arbitrage or value bets, and there is software which will compare the sharp odds with soft bookmakers odds and find these value bets for you. And the reason that this flies under the radar a little bit more is due to the dynamic nature of in-play odds and the fact that they're changing all the time. It's much harder for the likes of Bet365 to compare themselves to Pinnacle and know that it's exactly at the right time, whereas with pre-match betting, it's much easier just to compare where Bet365 closed their odds to where Pinnacle closed their odds. There are also certain markets which bookmakers will limit you a lot quicker on if you're beating the closing odds. So for example, greyhounds, Bet365, they offer really good greyhound odds, but if you're consistently beating those odds come race time, you're going to find your account limited within a couple of weeks. And I know this myself because I've tested out greyhound strategies that have done very well, but the account life is very short-lived. And the same can be said for taking horse racing bets the evening before as well. If you're backing a horse at like 18 the night before the race, and then come race time it's shortened all the way into 6, your account is not going to last very long just because of the huge amount of value that Bet365 are giving you. They want to cut you off as quickly as possible. On the other side of that, if you're finding value in the player props market in the Premier League, then your account is probably going to last for years. Overall, there are always going to be a few options for winning bettors to place bets at via either sharp bookmakers or exchanges, and if you're someone that's consistently getting access to new soft bookmaker accounts, then there are ways to prolong the life of these and make as much money as you can. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel, as that helps me out and allows me to keep creating content like this. In the description I will add links to everything that's relevant, so I'll add a link which goes through all the bookmakers and exchanges that don't limit you, and I'll also put a link to the article which goes in a bit more in depth into how to extend the life of your soft bookmaker accounts as well. Thank you for watching.